and we thought we'd bring some afternoon chit chat to everyone on LinkedIn Live. We're here to talk to you about how to build your brand as a thought leader. Joining me today is Morgan Doyle and Stephen Jackson. And hi guys.
What's up?
It's Friday. You all excited for the weekend?
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So, thought leaders, they're everywhere. They're the people that we watch on LinkedIn, they're the people that we read about, they're the people that, we follow on Twitter and Facebook, right. All these places. What's some thought leaders that you actually follow?
Oh, okay, that's on the spot.
Right.
I will say that I follow probably a variation of CEOs and business leaders, but one of my favorite thought leaders, quite honestly, is Sara Blakely, the founder of Spanx, just because it's not only just about her professional brand, but also her personal brand as a leader, but also empowering women to be in the workforce.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun, isn't she?
Yeah.
You see these really quirky videos on Instagram with Sara, or an ad that pops up on Facebook where she's a little bit quirky, a little bit fun, but this amazing businesswoman that we can all aspire to be like.
She brings the realness to being a business leader.
Yeah. And what do you think, I suppose, with Sara Blakely or other thought leaders like Sara, what is it that makes them really stand out? Like for her personal brand is this woman that's super successful. I think she was the youngest self-made billionaire that was a female in history.
Oh, really?
I believe. It was something like some amazing, accolade that she actually achieved. But she's also just a really compassionate person. She's involved with a lot of charities. She's a wonderful husband in Jesse, who's also a public speaker, and he has his own personal brand. But what is it that really stands out, and how do people build this on different platforms?
I would say for me, I think thought leaders actually are the people that say things that I've been thinking, right? For a lot of us, some of us don't think we're thought leaders.
Yeah.
And we don't feel like we're not famous enough or so many X amount of followers. But a lot of times it's just being that person that's willing to be vulnerable, say the things that you believe, standing in conviction about it, and as well as their lives show that they're not just taking from the world, but they're also giving back. And for me, that's what it's all about, So I think about, just like a Gary Vee, right? So somebody like that.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great, right? He's awesome. He brings the energy every time, but then he delivers it in a way that it's not so buttoned up.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you still have valid points, you still have valid things to say, and you keep my attention the whole time, and I think that's really important.
They're both two of my favourite thought leaders, by the way. And Gary Vee, what I notice about when he does a presentation, he's so real, and he always swears in a presentation. And that's kind of part of his brand, but it's relatable, don't you think?
Yes. And it was for me, I hate always kind of going back to my former life, but as a former athlete, a lot of times some of the best coaches, some of them, even some of my favorite teammates, to get each other locked in or focused, and then you're not kind of giving your best. It's kind of like pep it up, and a couple of explicitives actually do that sometimes.
I know
it's turn tone.
Yeah, right.
I always look at these Gary Vee videos, and I'm always like so intrigued by how he really captures you, and you want to watch more. And I don't know if he's telling me so much that I don't know, but I feel like he's someone I want to keep on watching over and over again. I suppose that's really what a thought leader is in essence, isn't it?
Well, I think there's a few different components of thought leadership, because you have the captivating speakers that just resonate, and no matter what they do, the way that they perform and the way that they say it is just captivating, and it captures the audience right away. But then you also have the business leaders or leaders in industries that have reached premium success, and then they pull in the vulnerability, like what you talk about, and that realness and that relatability, and allowing you to actually see into their life through different platforms. So you have the automatic, just exciting, captivating humans, and then you also have the successful people that allow for you to see the vulnerability.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think Reese Witherspoon's another one that really comes to mind. She's been able to really transcend from being this amazing actress to being a great business person. She's a thought leader, she's involved in charities, she has a fashion chain, she's really done it all. But I noticed that in a lot of her content, she's just so real, and she will be vulnerable, and she will tell us where she's failed or what she's not good at, and I think that's really appealing, isn't it?
Right. Well, I think one thing too, you have this high level of thought leadership, but I also want to bring it down to its simplicity of truly every individual, every company can add value to their audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. We all love hearing a story, right? And especially if the story is relatable. So when people are telling their stories about how they ended up to their, their stories of success, and you hear those pitfalls, you're like, wow, I've done that, or I've been there, or I stopped there, I probably should have kept going. And when you hear those relatable stories from people that don't necessarily have their names in the headline, that's thought leadership. That is encouraging others to continue to keep going, keep striving.
Yeah. I think a lot of thought leaders in business really see the future as well. Like the whole idea of being a thought leader is they're having thoughts that people aren't having at that point in time or are just developing. And I think that's why in business we tend to follow those same people. I think Gwyneth Paltrow, another famous person who does that to a degree, that conscious uncoupling, some of her quirky little products she has in her Goop store, are really about thought leadership. So they're things that we haven't thought about before. If you notice the way that they drip feed that out into the press and get this worldwide exposure, they've been able to do that by being, different to everyone else. How important is it to be, thinking differently, or thinking about the future, or doing something that I suppose is slightly controversial in that thought leadership process?
Well, I think it's important to be able. I use the phrase "seeing around the corner." You have to know. You have to know what's coming, and even if you can't see it, anticipate it. And with that, I think you continue to do that, people start to notice, actually. Right? And that's the thing. When people start like, hey, wait a minute, Melissa is really on to something over there. And the more you can do that, the more you're willing to be stepping in faith of some sort, I think people really catch on to that. You have a creative mind. You have the ability to take risks, and if it's measured or not. But at the same time, you're bringing people along with you. You're not just going by yourself. And I think that's a combination of all those things.
Yeah. Well, I think you brought up a good point that I was going to mention as well, but you beat me to the punchline, is talking about that risk.
Yes.
And a lot of thought leaders, it may be, that they're thinking of something that no one's thinking about or are just starting to develop, or maybe people have thought about it, but no one's willing to take that risk and put themselves out there, develop the product, the service, or really just develop a new idea. And so that risk is truly a valuable skill to have. But then also, what do they say? The more risk you take more frequently, the quicker you gain to success or get to success. So that's a key component of that thought leadership willingness.
And I think what happens with a lot of thought leaders, they start off and they're amongst the pack, and then they start separating themselves from the pack. And they do that from a lot of different platforms. So they might, do that whether it's being controversial, dyeing their hair green or pink or whatever. Or they might be doing it in utilizing what they have access to, whether it's a broadcasting platform, whether it's a blog, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever platform there is. So how important are those platforms to actually escalating that your brand as a thought leader, do you think?
I think for me, understanding how to use the platform properly, so if you just use Instagram, not live, but the story, right? That is more for stories that are not prudent and you don't want there all the time, but it keeps the follower engaged, just seeing, what's your mind process, like what are you thinking? So when you're able to show your followers and the people that, value your content, that you're creative, but you're using the different platforms in different areas, and they don't have to just go to one place to receive everything. It keeps them engaged, and it keeps them wanting more.
Right. Well, and I think to your point of how important it is to publish that information, if the thought leadership isn't published,
and no one hears it.
Right. Then how is it thought leadership? Because truly, the only way to be a thought leader is for even one individual to hear about it, much less entire audiences within these platforms.
And what do you think is the most important platforms to use if you're just starting out and you really want to get away from the pack and you want to get a following, you want to build that community? As a thought leader, what platforms do you see as being really important in 2020?
Well, see, when you just said get away from the pack, it kind of changed my answer. But I think the easiest one to get started would be Twitter, to have those direct conversations with those direct contacts and really, pin back and forth and go back and forth and have these conversations. I think that's the quickest, the easiest, and most efficient, because that platform specifically is for conversation engagement back and forth. So that would be my first one to just be easy right away. Now, consumer, it's a little different. If you have a product and it's a consumer product, I would say Instagram.
Yeah,
Right
for
away.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what about you?
I actually agree with both of your answers. And me personally, as a case study, I probably went on hiatus from Twitter for a number of years, 2 or 3 years. But then as I wanted to get back on the platform, I started inviting my followers to do weekly conversations, right?
Oh, that's great.
Notify them I'll be on here. Let's talk, talk about whatever you want to talk about. And it gets the chattering going, right? And then it builds up my confidence. A little bit build your confidence up if you go that route. But it just allows for you to open yourself up and kind of see that it's not so big and scary out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great idea.
I think those Twitter chats tend to be really popular, and it allows people to actually talk to you. So I think they really appreciate having access to the person that they're sort of seeing as a thought leader in any area or any category. One of the other ways in which thought leaders tend to really escalate their profile is by writing a book or having a podcast. So, I don't know about you, but when I read a book about someone, I instantly think they're the expert at that particular topic. Would you feel the same way?
Well, and I would say I've been to marketing seminars before where and it's primarily like a business leader or somebody starting their own company, and one of the first encouragements that they do is to write a book because you're instantly seen as a thought leader. And it's whether people realize it or not, they're putting that person and that author in that thought leadership position just because they have something published in that format.
Yeah, and a lot of these books are published as a self-published entity, or they're done and they're not really getting paid a lot of money, but it's not really about the money, it's about the positioning. How's that positioning your personal brand, how's that positioning your brand as a business, etc.
Absolutely.
I agree. I was going to say with the whole book thing, we've talked about it off camera, but I would say it's one of those things that it opens a conversation, right? And then people get to digging and reading, and you are perceived as a thought leader. You're seen as what you want to be seen at, but at the same time, it challenges you to find out more because you got to do some history and research to get that job. You got to fill the pages up. So it's
a lot of work.
Right? So it only sharpens you up as a thought-provoking leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think another key component, depending on what that book is about, whether it's a memoir or however that looks, you're not only providing thought leadership in segments, but you're putting it to paper, concrete, that is out there for people to. It's for it to stick with people for a long time.
Yeah, and it's just on people's shelves. I mean, I still got thousands of books, and most of them are business books, so I collect them. And I think that any book that I pick up off the shelf, I'm immediately thinking they're the expert. They know something that I don't already know. Absolutely. And I think that's really important. Well, thank you both for joining me here today. Please, if you're not watching, if you haven't watched the entire LinkedIn Live, go back and watch from the start. It's on thought leadership. I think it's a very important topic and very good for anyone who's looking to stand out from the crowd. And I will see everyone on Monday at 5:45 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.